Hello there. My name is Treesa Lee. I am a married mom of five whose ages are from 28 down to 11, and I have four beautiful grandchildren. I've been married to my husband, Kurt, now for it was 12 years, it'll be 13 years this year. And before him, I was married for 16 years. So that's just a little bit about me. I am going to be 53 this year, which I don't mind sharing my age because I feel a mandate to do so to help other women who are in my age group. So I feel like it's important to share my age for those reasons. Now, just recently, I'd say for about maybe the past year or so, I was able to overcome some of the symptoms I was having with menopause. I know many of you women who are watching this might resonate with that. The midlife thing, I remember before I was about to turn 50, and I began to just feel a little anxious. Aside from the challenges I was having with maybe I started not having as good of sleeping, weight gain was an issue. I used to stay at a certain weight, even with having all of my children. I never got to the weight that I was at my heaviest of being pregnant and everything. So a couple of years ago, well, yeah, I would say before I turned 50, I started having more of an issue or a challenge with being able to lose the weight, right? And so my cravings were through the roof. I don't even really, I'm not normally a coffee drinker, but I started craving coffee and I really began to love coffee. I mean, walking down the aisle at the grocery store, I couldn't like not go down that aisle. It was the strangest thing. I started getting cravings for coffee. And I like to say that I really love coffee, but coffee doesn't necessarily love me back because my body responds negatively to coffee. Like I can feel the effects of coffee, not just a jolt of energy, but maybe if it's not that day within a few hours, I feel that jittery feeling. But definitely the next day, like my joints begin to hurt and things like that. So it became more and more common, as I approached the age of 50. And not only that, but I was feeling all kinds of anxious about about to become 50. I was just feeling like I hadn't done what I was supposed to do in life. I felt like I was anxious all the time. And I wanted to, I had a goal in my mind to be retired by the time I was 55. And I didn't see how that was going to happen at that point because we were getting by, but I didn't feel like I was living the life that God had put me on earth to live. Long story. But um, I started having such a challenge with being able to figure out what my body needed because I knew one thing: salmon really helps me. It's just when I eat salmon, it feels like it goes straight to my system. I feel so much better almost immediately. It's the craziest thing. But certain things like that, I know I love broccoli and things I was trying to get the good food in, but I could not get past the cravings that I was having for fries and fried food and all these things. So, anyways, that led me down a path to coming up on my 50th birthday. Well, 50 came and went, and I was thinking, okay, something needs to change because I still felt like I had not reached the place that I wanted to be by this age. And so, not only those feelings, and I went back to school and got my degree that I had started in 1988. I was like a kid. And I dropped out of college and I went back and I had started the degree in computer programming. And I went back and because now I have all this sales and marketing experience, that's my strong place, marketing. I love marketing and things like that. And so I went back and got my degree. So walking across the stage was a beautiful thing. I really, really enjoyed that. And I love the fact of being the first one in my little immediate family to actually complete college. And I felt like I was blazing a trail, so to speak, for my children. And, my children were able to be there and my grandchildren. It was a monumental, beautiful moment that I'll never forget. But I didn't necessarily communicate with everybody around me as much, all of the challenges that I was facing during that time. I was, just having anxiety, feeling depressed. I remember screaming out to my children, my older children, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on. And I had a meltdown. And those meltdowns began to become a little more frequent. Well, I had to, I was in the emergency room. I kid you not. I was in the emergency room at least once a month because, and doctor's offices, like the inflammation was becoming unbearable and the pain in my body more and more, like on my legs and in my back of my neck and my back. And oh my gosh, it was just so much. So every time I went to the doctor, they just told me everything was fine. They were like, all your tests are negative, everything looks good. So just get some rest and basically take two of these and call me in the morning. And actually, doctors, there's one doctor prescribed like four different medications because my blood pressure began to go up, but it was because of the pain in my body that I was experiencing. And so he was like, he gave me something for the blood pressure and then something else and then some other things. And I asked him, I said, now, is this good for me or are drugs are gonna interact? There's a lot of things there. And he said, yeah, your kidneys aren't going to necessarily like it, but you got to do it. Let's just try it for a few months and see what happens. I was like, this is crazy. So I just went on a search. I remember going into like every time I'd pass by a herb store or a health food store, I stopped in there and I didn't even know what to tell them, but I'm hurting, I'm miserable, and please help me. And I would just cry, and the poor people that I would go to, and just cry to them and say, I don't know what's going on, but I'm hurting, and the doctors don't know, and all the things. Anybody that I talk to, my husband as well, or family members, I'm a woman of faith and I believe, and so I was trying to stand in that and at the same time be able to explain what I was going through. So it was an interesting dichotomy. I was trying to figure out how to get out of this and what to do and praying, praying, praying. I prayed to God so much. And through sometimes what was like debilitating, like pain. I would just sometimes I would look at my husband, whether it be in the, I stand in the bathroom or I'm about to lay down, and I just look at him and I would just cry, and he'd say, "Oh my gosh, what is wrong? And how can I help?" and that kind of things. But I don't know how you can help. And it was such a time when only God could help me through that. And the reason why I bring that up is because I feel like I'm on the other side of that. And I would really, really, really love to help some other women to not suffer in silence like I did. I went through that almost by myself because, and some of it was self inflicted because I didn't know what to tell someone what I'm going through or how to help me. My husband is a man of God and he prayed for me and he continued to pray for me, but he didn't know what to do either. And so it was something that I had to seek God about and say, Lord, I need your help like never before. I need you to tell me what to do in this situation. Long story short, I started, getting some relief here and there, picking up different things. I read books and listened to podcasts and understanding what I could do to heal and to help my body because I know that our bodies are so strong and our bodies are really good at healing themselves. But then we need to know what to give it. Our bodies need to have fuel in order to operate at full capacity. So I began to do research and things like that. And there's some things that I did want to share with you. Just a little bit of my background. It would take years, definitely months, um, of me to be able to explain and some of the things as we learn, as we get to learn each other, and I get to share more of my story and some things that might help you, um, some things that actually worked well for me. But let me just say this: I'm no doctor, but I would love to share. If you have any of the things that I mentioned to you, those are my experiences. So please consult your doctor. Um, and if there's anything that you're thinking you might want to take on and try for yourself. But these are things that did work for me. So what I did was I wanted to approach menopause from a faith-based perspective. I'm a woman who believes in the Bible, and I believe in the Word of God, and I believe in the faith in God will get me to what I want. I believe that with all my heart. So as I began to research, I saw a lot of things about, other practices and things that ways that people are using to combat the symptoms of menopause that could be sometimes really challenging. Well, um, I had to chew the meat and spit out the bones, so to speak. So some of the things that I got, I was able to incorporate, and some things I was not interested in for myself. But there's some things that actually work for me. So I came up with a way that I would love to help women. And so I have, different ways that I want to be able to share some of the things that actually worked for me. So I want to give you a few of those today. One of the most important things, and I've mentioned it a little bit here, even in this conversation, and that is how important it is for us to seek God first and foremost as our foundation in this time of transition of our bodies. Of course, if you don't know, menopause is when our bodies, our our menstrual cycle is beginning to stop. And so there's perimenopause and then there's menopause. But before all that, your body begins to prepare for that process. Well, in that process, many times we are so bombarded with all of the symptoms and all of the challenges that we're facing that for me, I forgot, or I had to remind myself often, daily, to seek God during this time. My faith had to be the prominent thing during this time of transition so that I would know, so that I could be guided by the Holy Spirit in what I took part in, that things that were best for my body and that would help me along the way. So I realized, sometimes the Lord's like, hey, I'm right here and I want to help you through this process. And I was like, oh my gosh, Father, forgive me, and then I realized that he said, when you seek me, you find me. And if you knock, the door will be open to you. And he's ever mindful of us. And so I began to read the Bible and recommit to the scriptures. And so after I got that into my heart and filled myself with those scriptures that meant a lot to me during that time, then I began to speak his word out of my mouth. So I believe that our words frame our world. And so when we use faith and we use faith filled words, that also begins to change our circumstance and also begins to change the situation that we are facing for the better. So that's the first thing I want to mention to you before we even go any further. Our foundation, I promise you, if you make your foundation the Word of God, His presence, and speaking his words out of your mouth. That's going to be the first change you will see. The other thing I wanted to encourage you with is diet and exercise. It's like the love hate relationship we all have with that, right? Because, let's just talk about exercise for a moment. When we know that it's important for us to exercise, but sometimes we don't want to go exercise. Our bodies are like, no, we've had this kind of day or that kind of challenge, and we just have to really prepare for that. But I tell you, when you go and get that workout in this, especially in this time of transition, it is healing not only for our bodies and helpful for our bodies and to get in shape, but it is also so emotionally helpful. The endorphins and the things that it releases when you get a good workout in um, is so good for you. And I encourage us to, begin to get those exercises in several times a week and be consistent. It will change our lives. So that's what I want to encourage you with as well. And of course, diet. Get that. I'm telling you, whole foods, healthy foods. Of course, there's books that you can read on eating right for your blood type and things like that. But most importantly, is just to eat healthy foods. We really know what is healthy for our bodies. Whole foods, grass fed meats. And if you have to have meat at all, because everything God has given us in the earth is good and healing, like fruits and vegetables and those grains and things that are good and cleansing for our bodies and made right for our system. So I encourage us to get foods that are healthy for us during this time, and that can change and help aid in the symptoms that we're experiencing. We begin to, if we don't have a lot of sugar in our diet, that can have, cause a lot of our joint pain and issues that we experience with inflammation. There's foods that feed inflammation, and there's foods that keep it away and keep it at bay. So that's what I would encourage you to do, as well as some supplements. So there are some supplements that have helped me. Um, some of them are things like vitamin D. I make sure to have that every day. Magnesium is very important as well. And calcium and vitamin C. Those are two different things, by the way. But calcium and vitamin C. And the great thing is, I want to mention, is fish oil. Do not forget your fish oil. That is very important as well. So I just wanted to share a few of the things and share a little bit of my testimony and my story. I'll share more of that as we go through this process, as I am transitioning from perimenopause into menopause, because I have not had a cycle for several months now. But it's been, that part is a blessing, but there's so many other symptoms and things that we experience that I want to help you through, things that have helped me and things that I've learned along the way. And I know you have a story as well, and I cannot wait to meet you and to learn more about your story and the things that helped you. Please, so comment, subscribe, and let me know the things that maybe have helped you that I did not mention. There's so many other things, um, so many other resources and ways that we can help to not only survive menopause, which is important, but we want to thrive in menopause. So I have put together, I'm putting together a one-stop shop for all things women in midlife. And so you'll be able to go on there. That website is faith-based menopause mastery.com. Faith-based menopause mastery.com. And that link will be below this video as well. And I will be sharing more of the things. I have some free products. I have some guides I would love to be able to share with you and to get you a copy of. If you're interested in that, that guide has some great little nuggets in there as well. I think this time is very important to not only have friends that we can communicate with that are in similar situations, but also be able to swap stories and swap things that have worked for each of us is important. And that community is like no other. So please, I look forward to meeting you. Comment right here below this video and let me know if any of this resonated with you or your thoughts, things that have worked for you. Like this video, please. That would help a lot. And subscribe and share this. Share this with someone that you know that might benefit from these points as well. And I look forward to seeing you My name is again Treesa Lee, and I like to say that I'm your sister from another mister, and I'll be praying for you that you will make the rest of your life the best of your life. God bless you. Bye bye.